and to schedule your complimentary personal finance strategy, contact the Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463. Elite Dental Wellness. At Elite Dental Wellness, Dr. Ashandra Batiste understands that one of the biggest obstacles is dental fear. The vision at Elite Dental Wellness is to ensure every patient is treated with respect, ultimate care, patience, and love. Call us today to make an appointment at area code 713-789-8680. Looking to advertise? Join the Sphere's vast demographic reach of thousands of people all over the world. Send an email today to advertise@thesphere.tv or call us at area code 832-772-7789.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for another edition of Society Now, a show that endeavors to bring you riveting content that is sure to get the conversations going around your dinner table. It's a Friday night, and I'm here in Houston, Texas, going live with my main man over here. What's your name?
What up?
What
up? It's your man, Senor Wapo, a.k.a. Kayla Laws. Do me a quick favor. You can follow me on all social media platforms, including iTunes. I'm sorry, I'm about to go into an ad.
Well, you were. And well, they can follow us both, right? Because they can follow you at Senior Wapo.
At Senior Wapo 713. That's SENORGUAPO 713.
So much. And you can follow me on Instagram at TheModernDayCindy. That's Cindy with an I, not a Y.
Let's get it popping. Let's get it cracking. What we got going on?
Too many things are happening in the news, and I promise you, and it's kind of crazy because sometimes we really do try to find stuff to like report on that's like positive for the people, but it seems like every day is something so crazy happening in the world, and I'm just like trying to figure out, when does the madness end? Well, it ends when we all let's just do this PSA right now.
Please.
It ends when we all take up our opportunity to vote. We take the opportunity to actually make our voices heard. And for many people, especially here in Texas, today is the last day for early voting, and I think the polls probably closed at 7 p.m.
Closed at 7, yeah.
And so it was a great opportunity. I know we were able to get in there pretty early, which was last week. But Super Tuesday, November 6th, Super Tuesday is the day to go vote. And that means
across the country.
All across the country. No excuses, people. Go out there and vote, especially if you're registered. Go out there and vote. Figure out what your location, your polling place is. Now, if you were an early voter or you heard about people early voting, that doesn't necessarily mean that the early voting places are where you can actually vote. You need to find out where you're in your location. You can go vote and exercise your right to vote. Do not get frustrated with lines, okay?
It's not an excuse.
It's not an excuse. A line is not an excuse for not voting. So please go out there and vote. Make sure that you make your voice heard. We can't tell you who to go vote for, but we can tell you to vote. Okay, so we just want you to exercise the right, because these rights are very important, and they're way too important for them to be stripped from you from not exercising your right. So please, for sure, exercise that right. What do you say about that?
Listen, I'm stuttering. Talking about That's how. That's how important it is. It is critical. It is something that needs to happen across this country to get some things done. Listen, if you're a minority in this country, your rights are literally at stake and in jeopardy, right? If you are someone who is in the middle class, which 98% of the country is, right? Or 95% of the country is in middle class. You know, your rights are in jeopardy, right? So certain things that the reasons that voting is important. Maybe you're a college student. You may not think voting is important. But voting actually helps determine the price of your tuition. Yeah, absolutely. That is on a state level, right? But even on the federal level, you talk about financial aid opportunities. That's where Pell Grant comes from. That's where unsubsidized and subsidized loans come from, right? So maybe you're a college student and you don't feel like voting really matters. What it does, because it affects how much you pay to go to school. Maybe, you don't think it affects you. The judges affect you, right? Policy that is created regarding the criminal justice system affects you, right? Speeding laws, taxation, right? School budgets, so many different things. And so make sure that you get out there and exercise your right to vote, because it is critical. It is important. I'm telling you, I had a phenomenal time exercising my right. Went to the polls early. So I actually saw a couple of Houston celebrities. We were able to chop it up. You can't take your phone in the voting station, in the polling booth. You can request a provisional ballot if you get there. I'm talking about folks in Texas. If you get there, right, and they can't find your name, and they say you're like, no, I voted. I know I registered. I don't know what's going on. It's a glitch in the system. Well, then you can request what's called a provisional ballot, and they have to give it to you. Once they give you that provisional ballot, then they take your ballot, in theory, and we just hope this is true, but the law says that they take your ballot and they go back in on the back end and search and dig and search. Okay, this person did have their stuff. Now we can count their ballot. Maybe you're an ex-offender, right? And you don't think you can vote. Well, you can vote as long as you are not on any kind of supervision. As long as you're not on parole,
probation, or
as long as you're not on parole, as long as you're not on probation, right? And maybe if you're inside, you're actually in jail. You can actually, and it's not a felony. You're in just regular jail for a misdemeanor. You're sitting out tickets, or you had a small assault charge that was misdemeanor or whatever. But you still want to vote. You can vote while in jail if you are not charged with a felony. So
it's
get
a lot
out
of
there
things.
and vote, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of things that you have to know, and also you have to remember that this voting season is so integral, right? It's so important, and a lot of people don't think that this right is something worth it. I remember, just recently in one of my classes that I'm teaching, I told them, hey, if you go out there and vote, no matter who you vote for, if you go out there and vote and show proof with it, that's your little sticker that says I voted, I'll do something for that, because I'm like, to me, it's important for you to early vote. And one of my students actually said, well, what's the purpose of it? Who am I supposed to vote for? And I'm like, now this is where you have to do your homework. I can't tell you who to vote for, right? But I can tell you what's at stake. I know that we talked about the fact that if you go sometimes especially like in states like Georgia, they just purged 179,000 people from voting because they hadn't voted in the past 2 or 3 years or something like that. You don't want your name to be purged off of the roll, right? It's the most ridiculous thing, and I don't necessarily know if that's the right thing to do, but I really feel like you don't want to be in a situation where when you want to vote, you're not able to because you got your name was purged. So always take an opportunity to vote. Don't take it lightly. Don't think that this is some type of, because I can say, this is the first time I've ever seen such a mad rush for a midterm election. What do you think about that?
Yeah, listen, I'm excited about it. There's time for change, right? We have to get ready for some new blood, some new ideas, to right some wrongs, to set some things straight. And I think that people understand it. Everybody knows what's at stake, right? Mm-hmm. Freedoms are at stake, right? People on the other side, on both sides of the aisle, rather, feel like freedoms are at stake. Mm-hmm. And so this is a critical election that you just have to be a part of. So, early voting is pretty much over with around the country as of now, Friday, November 2nd. But Super Tuesday is around the country. So once this airs, once this episode airs, you still will have time. Remember to go to the voting location that is listed on your voter registration card, using the address that's listed on your voter registration card. All right. So get out there and rock the vote, man.
Absolutely. Rock the freaking vote. Let's do this, y'all. Let's do this. Let's show up. Let's make sure they know that we actually do care, because that's something that's a conversation. Like certain demographics and certain demographics in terms of age and even race don't really care, and so we want to make sure that we as a group, not necessarily specific persons, but as a group, we actually go out and vote. So definitely vote
for sure.
So let's talk about this. So Google. So it's interesting. We've heard, this Me Too movement has made the conversation about misconduct, sexual abuse, sexual assault. I don't want to say it's a hot conversation, because it's been something that's been going on forever, but it keeps coming back up in different ways. Now at Google, back in 2013, actually, one of their executives was reportedly accused of some misconduct allegations, so they severed ways with him. Well, it's been found out that he actually winded up getting an exit package of $90 million. $90 million after that is, and this is the issue, after he was accused of misconduct, these allegations, $90 million. Now people all over are like, when they staged the walkout, they're staging a walkout, or they staged it. I'm not sure where we are with the timing of it, but thousands of people are like, we just can't do this, and I'm trying to, it baffles me. And maybe that's a conversation about how you actually write a contract, because if the contract he had was written way before these allegations came about and it said, hey, if something ever happens, you sever ties, he might have had in his contract, well, this is the amount, certain amount or percentage of I think I should get. And maybe they didn't have any line in there about, behavior or things that could possibly nullify those agreements. But he's walking away with $90 million. And the employees at Google are pissed.
Yeah. I'm like you. I want to know who wrote the contract. Where was the doggone legal counsel? Like, who did he have? What does he do? And then I get that it's an allegation, right? And I get he needs to get a severance.
Right.
I'm hoping. I just want to know the language of it, because I need to put that in my contracts.
Well, this is not anything new. Like, we see it all the time, and we see these golden parachutes for executives all the time. And
absolutely.
It's an ongoing conversation.
She's a business professor, y'all. I never heard that term before.
and it happens all the time where these golden parachutes happen where there is some allegation or some wrong has been found, and when they leave a lot of times better than when they came in the organization. You know what I mean? And so it's not necessarily it's not necessarily a detriment to them, because you don't necessarily feel the heat per se. I'm going to say you don't feel the heat of what you actually have done. We talked last week about Megyn Kelly, and again, she's leaving a situation with $69 million. And again, this is a very, I don't even know how you address it, because do you penalize people for? Well, on her situation, there was some stuff that she probably shouldn't have said. It wasn't. It was really in poor taste. Honestly, it was just in poor taste. But this situation with Google, I think that people are more upset about. Does he get to walk away unscathed with a bag of $90 million? So I think we have a lot of, and it's just what I talked about yesterday. A lot of discussions that be had about ethical misconduct, sexual misconduct, the ethics of the business, what's considered unethical, what's considered illegal, how do we reconcile the two, what do we need to do in terms of these backroom, not to say it's a backroom deal, but who do we bring to the table to construct the contract such that we don't reward bad behavior.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and it's worth noting that these are allegations.
It is.
These are allegations. Nothing has been found and set in stone and in concrete, right? But still, $90 million. I don't fault him. I don't fault him for getting $90 million. I don't fault him for anything of that nature. But I think it's necessary. It's interesting to dig in. I know as a college professor in the business discipline, Kira, I know that this would be phenomenal for you, teaching your corporate law classes and things of that nature, and how to excuse me, how to write contract. This would be a great case study. Well, it really would on a number of different levels.
That's what I said. I think that yesterday I did a talk, and one of the things I really wanted to focus on was like, the whole thing, the ethics and law, they're sisters, but they're not twins. They are born from the societal need to be safe, secure from harm, from all types of harm. However, they're handled totally different. What's considered unethical is not necessarily illegal, and vice versa. Sometimes things that are legal may not necessarily be ethical, because ethics are not the same for all people. And so there then lies a larger conversation. I've been in situations where I felt very strongly, my ethics felt very strongly about things that were happening in my work environment,
right.
But I know that it was not necessarily illegal, but for me it was really unethical. And so how do you reconcile that when you're working in a business where you may not feel comfortable with, or you may disagree with some of the standards, of the organization you work with, but yet you're still working.
Yeah.
And so it's something that people have to be able to agree with about how do we handle it. And so ideally, we just need to go through those processes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of processes that we need to go through. I tell you one process that I think everybody needs to be aware of and needs to understand. It is a process of how to become financially fit, how to become financially savvy. And you know what? Houston Housewives of Finance, they can help you with that. Did you know that only 4 states in the U.S. offer financial education? 33% or more than 77 million Americans don't pay their bills on time. 39% of Americans carry credit card debt from month to month, and 39% of adults said they don't have enough savings. Please don't become one of these statistics. Let Houston Housewives of Finance advise you on increasing your cash flow and becoming your own money manager by scheduling your complimentary personal financial strategy. Contact Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463 or email us at info@houstonhousewivesoffinance.com. Ask how you can participate in a complimentary, that means free, financial literacy workshop near you. Houston Housewives of Finance are the new faces of the new age of financial services.
Absolutely. Let's get our coin right.
Let's get that coinage right.
Now, let's talk about something different. Now, I want to just hit this real quickly because it's worth noting. We had a hot week in the news when we were talking about everything that's going on with this election season. Election season is on here.
It's
this is
100% here.
And within election season, a lot of hot topics are being thrown out. One of the things that happened last week on an interview with the president was that he was talking about removing birthright citizenship. Now, that is one of those, it's very much a touchy situation and a touchy topic because we have so many people that are here and considered citizens just because their parents, they were born here. And what does that say for America as a whole? Because honestly, that would remove the birthright for many of us, right?
All of us.
All of us.
If you look at the domino effect, not to cut you off, but if you look at the domino effect of what that is, just two great grandparents before us, our great, your grandmother's parents, my grandmother's parents were more than likely slaves.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
My great grandmother's parents, rather, not my grandmother. Our great grandparents, our great grandparents were more than likely slaves. My great grandmother was born in 1906.
Mm-hmm.
So it's likely that her parents were born in the 1850s, and slavery was not abolished until 1865.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, if you with this logic, where does the cutoff?
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? And secondarily, our current president's wife wasn't born an American citizen.
No.
Right? The current first lady wasn't born an American citizen. Donald Trump's father was not born as an American citizen. So now he is the child of someone who wasn't born of an American citizen. So I just don't understand. To me, the 14th Amendment is clear. It is extremely clear. And let's get this. What President Trump, our current celebrity in chief, is trying to do is the 14th Amendment. He's trying to give what's called an executive order, and an executive order is a decree that the president said that the president makes, but it has to be deemed constitutional by the Supreme Court. So all presidents make executive orders. They all do. They all do. As soon as they come into office, they make a bunch, right? Mm-hmm. Trump tried to do it with the wall. The Supreme Court said, no, this is unconstitutional. Put it down. So now he's trying to go other and you see it was squash. He's trying to go other routes with the wall. The same thing is going to happen. The executive order, if he actually does it, which remains to be seen, it will go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court then has to say if it's constitutional or not. The issue is now we have an all conservative, a right leaning, Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. So it makes people a bit nervous. I personally don't believe, based upon the history of the justices sitting on the bench, that this will go. It's too slippery of a slope.
It's too slippery of a slope, and it has too many repercussions for too many people that are already here.
Absolutely,
it will totally I believe it will turn our nation upside down. You have to think about who is at stake for being deported. When you think about where are they gonna go? Some of these people don't even know what that homeland looks like. It just
we have students like that.
We have students. But beyond that, we have parents of students that are like that. We have our, so I think that we are. At what point? What does that legislation look like? What does that executive order look like? How many generations do you pass for that to happen? So it just creates a whole new conversation about something that's really touchy.
Yeah, and I love creating conversations.
Absolutely,
right? And especially with our Facebook Live.
Hey,
folks.
Facebook
we want to
Live
ask
people.
that you subscribe to our show on all the major platforms, including iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher. You can review our show in iTunes with constructive feedback and share. Please share. Hit that little arrow. Share this Facebook Live post and the entire show with the family and friends. Donate to our mission to bring enriched and inspired inspiring content each and every week. You can donate at www.thesphere.tv/donate. Shout out to Latrice Bean, Mary Pierce, and Stephanie Rucker. We appreciate you, Treese. We trying to secure that bag.
We trying to secure the bag. I don't listen.
Trying to secure
the
that
bag is being secured right now. Are you speaking in the natural?
There it is. So we'll see y'all next time. Make sure that you subscribe to this podcast at www.thesphere.tv/SocietyNow so you can catch the rest of the episode. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
So what else we got?
Okay, so now this is another thing that has kind of just made me feel some type of way. You know, I'm really, when it comes to my babies, I feel very like I have to be protective of my children. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I heard and or read was about this baby fight club in St. Louis. What the heck?
Look, bruh.
I wish I would drop my kid off at a daycare and find out that the teachers in the daycare are rousing these kids to fight by first introducing some type of toy. They introduced a toy. It was like, hey, have the toys fight, whatever. And then saying, hey, this little kid gets on another little kid and tries to like beat him up. And because the teacher's engaging and telling them to do it. Now, like everything else, I'm thankful for this for a reason. I'm thankful that someone actually recorded what was happening. I'm disturbed by the fact they recorded it and wanted to show it to people. I'm happy that they had the recording so these nutcases can go to jail. Like, who does this stuff? I want to know.
There's some sick, disgusting, demented, ignorant, dumb behind people in this earth, on this planet, in this world, in this country. What lunatic? Like, you're literally a lunatic. You have to be a lunatic. You have to be crazy. You have to be certifiably insane. You know, as they say, as they used to say in the 70s and 80s, lunching, lunch box in order to, have a fight club. I'm telling you right now, you put my baby in the fight club, it's gonna be a fight club, and my baby ain't gonna be the one fighting. Yeah,
absolutely.
This is ridiculous. I don't understand how people can do such things. I really don't. So listen. My wife and I, we're very, very particular about people even being around our baby, touching our baby, let alone daycare. We are completely in charge in school of schooling and watching and tending to our children at this moment. There will come a time where potentially we may have to put them in some sort of setting. But I tell you, I feel bad for for those people because they're finna get it. I'm gonna be all up in their business. We're gonna be all up in their business. And
every day.
And every parent, I encourage you to do the same. As an educator, I've been there. I've been there. Listen, call your children's teachers. Email them, hit them on Twitter, Instagram, whatever contact information they have. Make sure the daycares be up there 2 or 3 times a week. Let them know you crazy and you'll do something to this daycare.
Once with my kids.
Once the kids leave, because you ain't finna do nothing nobody else kid. But I'm being silly, but not really. Like
not really.
Like you have to.
No, not really.
Yeah, you gotta protect your kids, man.
You gotta protect your kids. Now let's talk about. Because this is the type of stuff that keeps kids stressed out. And I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but the state of the world today keeps kids stressed out. And in Time magazine, they actually have an article about this particular generation being the most stressed out, the most traumatized generation. And they're talking about kids from ages 15 to 21. They're the most stressed. They said gun violence, political turmoil, personal problems are causing significant stress issues in America's youth right now, teenagers and young adults. According to a new report, members of Generation Z, people ages 15 to 21, reported the worst mental health of any generation, included in the American Psychology Association annual stress report, which was based upon 3,500 interviews with people aged 18 and older, plus 300 interviews with teenagers aged 15 to 17. I believe it. This is just who they interviewed. You know what I mean? We think about people
they just respondents.
You know, like it's who they
subsection.
It's a subsection of people they just interviewed. And we're talking about. I'm even considering those who did not get the interview and how stressed they probably are as well because. Let's look at it demographically. They did ages. Let's talk about race. Let's talk. You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about households. Let's talk about environment. Like, All of these things play a huge role in the amount of stress that these people are taking on.
And in history, not history, research is clear that suicides are up for that rate as well.
Absolutely.
From 12 to 20. I think the last thing I saw from 12 to like 21 to 22. Suicides are up like 60%. Right? For that generation, for the Generation Zs, you know what I'm saying? And so we just got to be careful, man. This current political time that we're in, financially what's going on. You and I, we were just talking, that's budding college. They're starting to realize, oh crap, once I get out of the school, I gotta pay on the cheap end $1,500 for a decent apartment. How am I supposed to afford it? Or if I want to get a house and they require 20% down, and the average home cost is $350,000, $330,000, that's $63,000 that I got to pay. These are the kind of things that young 21 and 22-year-olds start thinking about because they're about to get out of college. They're of age at this point, and it absolutely stresses them.
It absolutely stresses them.
We teach these folks.
We teach them, and it's unfortunate because how do we circle back and give them a narrative that's different than what they're hearing every day, but yet is positive? We just have to go out there and make change, honestly. Now let's talk about something that is changing, and it's interesting because we're in a situation where people are looking for some positive feedback, and so there's a lot of stuff going on positively. How about, well, this is not really positive, I guess. It's kind of like a sad positive, but it's positive nonetheless.
A sad positive.
Sad positive, but it's positive nonetheless.
Sad positives is a weird. Should I smile or should I frown about it?
Let's circle back about the sad positive. Let's smile first.
Let's smile first?
Let's smile first.
Okay.
So this portion of our show is sponsored by Elite Dental Wellness. At Elite Dental Wellness, our vision is to create a welcoming practice that will offer exceptional dental care and a lifetime of dental wellness. We are committed to the finest possible oral care and the overall health and well-being of our patients. At Elite Dental Wellness, it is built upon a foundation of integrity, expertise, and service. Through our commitment to modern dentistry, continuing education, and a friendly atmosphere, we strive to make our patients feel that they are part of our family. Dentistry can be scary, daunting, and uncomfortable. Dr. Batiste and her team work tirelessly to ensure your comfort. Make your appointment today with Dr. Ashandra Batiste at Elite Dental Wellness by calling 713-789-8680. Again, the number is 713-789-8680. Elite Dental Wellness. Yeah. Blinging on these teeth, though. Blinging on these teeth now, but seriously, on a positive note. Yeah. On a real positive note. A few things happen in our atmosphere, I guess. Number one thing was yesterday at the San Francisco 49ers game, a cheerleader actually took a knee. Now, why is this significant? But the 49ers is the team that Colin Kaepernick was on before he was released. And, that was significant. I don't necessarily know if the language of whatever agreement that was put in place said that the cheerleaders couldn't take a knee, but the fact that she did, and she was the only person that did it, was a bold statement. I think it's important that we continue to talk about social injustices, talk about how they're affecting people, not just minorities, but how it's affecting the conversation across the United States, because there's such a big divide about where people stand on it, and are we still confused about the real issue? I don't necessarily think, I think at this point nobody's really confused about the issue. I think just people are willfully ignorant. Yeah,
you're absolutely correct, willfully ignorant. And one point that I think is important to talk about is whether or not the language regarding the players kneeling is something that that affects cheerleaders, and I don't think it does, because the players were responding to an NFL PA, the NFL PA agreement regarding that, and so those are for the Players Association. That is the union that the Players Association is a part of, not cheerleaders. Now, more than likely there will be some sort of something coming up out of this. And I think it's hilarious that it's and beautiful and ironic and so just flat out dope that this cheerleader did it. The picture was caught from behind, so nobody fully knows who it is. They don't know her ethnicity. They don't know her face or her name. I'm sure the organization knows, because they have cameras all over the the stadium. But again, I think it's really, really dope, very courageous, amazing, especially during these times regarding voting and everything, that she took a knee/stance with STANCE regarding what's been going on. So that definitely makes me smile, Kira. It definitely does make me smile. I tell you, another thing that makes me smile is what happened with Congressman John Lewis, right? Congressman John Lewis. So if you let's set the picture. A few days ago, Pharrell. I don't know if you heard of a guy named Pharrell, right? Part of the phenomenal group Nerd. Phenomenal producer, songwriter. He wrote like one of the dopest and most greatest anthems the world has ever heard, especially in recent times, and that's Happy, because I'm happy. Yeah, I don't know the word, but happy. Just everybody just doing a Tootsie Roll and having a good time with Happy, right? Well, he wrote a cease and desist letter because a current celebrity in chief, President Trump, played that during one of his rallies. And he said, no. You don't have any rights to broadcast my stuff. Stop. Don't play it at any other thing that I have. You will be hit with a lawsuit. I don't support you. This is what he said to President Trump. Well, the great, the indomitable, the iconic John Lewis was seen at a rally, similarly dancing to Happy, getting happy, and there was not a peep in sight for real. In fact, I just want to in my mind imagine that Pharrell was dancing right with him when he saw it and said, "Yeah, this is who I meant it for. I meant it for your folks." And so the 79-year-old got his John Lewis got his groove on and was hanging out, having a good time to Happy, and that just makes me happy, especially since Pharrell was mute. He didn't say nothing. His camp didn't say anything regarding this, and I think it's beautiful. I think it's dope, and I love the fact that everybody is hitting the opposition where they need to, taking a stance in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I love that our leaders in the community, our leaders in industry, our leaders in entertainment, our leaders in education are all taking a stance, and I hope that you are. And I'm not telling you what stance to take. I really am not, because everybody, I'm sure, listens to this broadcast. I don't know the political persuasion and preference of everyone, but take a stance and get down like the 79-year-old iconic John Lewis was getting down in his rally. I tell you, it's amazing regarding that. I tell you, and let's keep it moving. Oh, so let's talk about some black girl magic. Let's keep smiling today. I love one clap for black girl magic. You know what I'm saying? And so there's this young lady. This is sister. She's hails from Spring, Texas, which is just north of Houston. You may have heard her. She's an Olympian. She's larger than life, but only like 4 feet 9 inches. Like literally, I saw her. No, seriously, 4'9", 4'10". After the Olympics, I called a parade here in Houston, and I met her. And I'm 6'4", and she was about at my hip. I'm exaggerating. She wasn't that short, but she's about 4 foot something. Her name is Simone Biles. Simone Biles. I'm sure you've heard this name. Well, she's made history yet again, being the first woman to win 4 all-around world titles. The very first, not the first black woman, the first woman, period, to win 4. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 times 2. 2 plus 2. That's so interesting how 2 times 2 and 2 plus 2 are the same thing. Anyway, yeah, I'm a nerd. Y'all know that. But she's won 4 titles. 4 all-around titles. So I think it's really, really dope. I think it's worth noting for us to celebrate her greatness. She's been through so much. She I can't think of the name, but the coach that has now received like 150 years or whatever for molestation, she worked that coach. She's come through a rough time. She actually was adopted, or a foster kid coming up, and wound up settling out here in the Houston area, and just began to rise and grow, and even she pushed through some injuries this past competition, but she still was able to win the all-around title for the 4th time. I think it's really, really dope. And I tell you, maybe you're looking for a title. Maybe you have a title of a business, title of a book. Maybe you have a title of a blog. Maybe you have something that you have going on and you need somewhere to advertise. Well, guess what? The Sphere is sponsoring this portion of the show. Are you starting a business and looking for a place to advertise? Do you have need to reach out to thousands of people across the world to build your brand or sell your product? If that is you, get your product placement and advertising needs handled right here at the Sphere. We offer a wide variety of content delivery platforms, including iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, YouTube, and Stitcher. Plus, we have a vast demographic reach within the United States as well as modern countries across the globe. Our enriched content and inspiring dialogue, coupled with your strategic ad, is surely to hit the mark every time. You can call us at area code 832-772-7789, or you can email us at advertise@thesphere.tv. I'm telling you, let's keep it smiling and keep it pushing. Keep it smiling and keep it pushing. And I think I want to talk about, I don't know if you've heard about these people, Kira. So this little light-skinned dude that live on the West Coast, right? Shooter, she got a really nice jumper, dribbles really well, won a couple championships. Name is Steph Curry.
Yeah.
You heard of him?
Yeah.
How about, have you heard of this lady? She's won a couple of Emmys, right?
She's amazing.
She's amazing. You know, she's trying to teach people how to get away with murder right now.
All the time.
You know what I'm saying?
She was the help.
She was the help. I think her name is, it's kind of like a color. Viola Davis.
Viola.
What happened with Steph and Viola?
So Steph and Viola are set to executive produce a documentary about the Charleston church shooting. Now, why is this significant? It's significant for a lot of reasons. Number one, because it was a Charleston church shooting, and it was one of those things that people are still talking about the horrific act that happened. We also talk about what happened after the shooting, about how that person who actually was the shooter was treated by those who took him into custody versus how it kind of differs what's happening in our nation now. It's a conversation. I'm glad they're taking on this project. I think it's going to be a wonderfully, beautifully done project. I think that they both are passionate enough people. They're very committed as well. Steph Curry commits himself to what his beliefs are. Viola Davis is a committed actress, and she's definitely
30-year career.
30-year career, and she has that oomph to pull it off. You know what I'm saying? It's something about how when she does a project, you know she's going to bring quality to the table, regardless if she's in front of the camera or behind it.
Right.
So we're looking forward to that project. I can't wait to see how it turns out. I think it's going to be amazing.
Agreed.
Amazing. I know it's going to be amazing. Now, something else that I want to talk about, and it's not necessarily the most positive thing, but it actually is a positive thing. Which is the guy who actually was awarded a $298 million verdict for being the groundskeeper, and it was I forget the company, the man. I can never say the name of the company, but anyways, he's deciding, although he's terminally ill, he's deciding to take the payout of $78 million because he was told by his doctors that he didn't have much time left. I think it was a wise move for him as a family man. Although he got a huge settlement of $298, taking a payout of $78 million immediately helps him ensure that he can take care of those that he's leaving behind. So I think that's a really smart move. I think sometimes people get wild by numbers and don't realize, yes, it's a number, but sometimes it takes a very long time to get that number considering what's on the table. So unfortunately, I hate that we're losing a life, but I'm glad that he had the the mind to say, let's give me the check now, and I can sew it the way I need to sew it. So bless God for that. Also, interesting, which is just a turn, and I think it's something that we need to talk about before we end tonight's show. Akon. Well, I would call Akon a
make music. I can't do it. I try to do it like him.
He does. I mean, Akon has done so much, and he's been such a contributor back in his family's homeland, because he's actually he actually is from the U.S. He's from Missouri. Let's be clear. Born in Missouri. Let's not even start that lie.
At all.
Okay, he's born in Missouri, but he was raised in Senegal for some years, and he's seriously considering running for president in 2020.
Why not?
But he's done so much, back in Africa. It was like, well, why not? He was
internationally. He has the chops. He understands international policy. He understands that. I think why not? He's an American citizen. Why not? He pays taxes. He's over 40. Like he meets all the criteria.
I think for even if he wasn't able to become president, I think he's one of those persons that you need to have in your cabinet. Because, like you said, he understands policy,
international policy,
and he also understands how to build infrastructure for countries.
For sure.
You know what I mean, and meeting needs, and there's people like that you need to have on your side.
Or at the very it may, even not a cabinet. He needs to be part of the State Department. In terms of maybe being an ambassador, one of the ambassadors in Senegal to the U.S. because you know what I'm saying, like or some other country that's maybe not Senegal because there may be a conflict of interest there, but some other country that needs what Senegal has needed, things that he's done. Like he
Or
definitely can work.
here.
He definitely can work in the foreign aid department. He definitely can work in the State Department here in a number of different ways. I think it's very, very smart. He's an intelligent
Absolutely
guy.
intelligent.
A lot of resources at his disposal. It makes sense to me. Why not? At the very least, put your bid in. You never know what's going to happen.
And some of the things he said is that, under our former president, Barack Obama, he said that, we had people unified. It didn't matter what you look like or where you were from. People were willing to work together. There's a huge fear now that that's not the case right now.
Yeah.
That people are not willing to work together and I'm not because people don't want to work together. It's just a huge mistrust and a fear of what's going to happen next. And he was like, I really think I'm considering throwing my
his name in a hat.
Yeah, name in a hat, my hat in there to see what happens. And I think it's a really good move, and not just for foreign policy, but also just for what can happen here on it. Because right now, our nation needs to heal as well.
We
our nation needs to heal.
We need some.
Absolutely.
We need
so
some
whatever that looks like, right?
Neosporin
and
stitches.
Yeah.
To heal.
And therapy.
Maybe some therapy and some antibiotics.
We need
all
therapy.
At the same time.
We need
Get
therapy.
on somebody's couch.
I mean, absolutely, but it's okay though, and we're gonna, we're gonna forge on. We're gonna be the great nation that we were designed to be.
Indeed.
And we're just gonna go through this process.
Let's go through it.
So, as we said at the beginning of the show, this is an important time. We're looking forward to Super Tuesday. If you have not voted, go out there and vote. Make your voice heard. Make sure that you don't fall for the okie doke. Don't let anybody turn you around, turn you away. Make sure you know that you have an important thing at stake when you vote. Your vote is amazing. And also when you vote, and I wanted to say this earlier, when you vote, make sure that especially if you vote a straight ticket, that you check everything that's on that ballot. Vote straight ticket. Go through every selection. Make sure that the people that you wanted to vote for are actually on that ballot. If not, you go back and change it before you cast your ballot. Yeah, because after you cast your ballot, they will not accept a change. So straight ticket, you go out there, you check everything before you click cast.
Check and double check.
Double check.
We've had some issues here in Texas, and there's also been some issues in there have also been some issues in Georgia. Regarding ballots being changed when people vote straight ticket. So make sure after you hit straight ticket, you're able to review every section to make sure you're either Democratic or Republican or independent candidate was selected in that race.
Absolutely. Just don't overlook that. And I know in some ballots they're saying that the mayoral candidates are after the actual proposition. So make sure you look at that as well and make sure who you're selecting is chosen. So that's what I have for today. Yeah, that's what I have. Well, I'm Kalen Laws. You can follow me at Senior Wapo 713 on all social media outlets. That's SENORGUAPO 713. I'll see you. And I'm Kira Laws, and you can follow me on Instagram at the Modern Day Cindy. That's Modern Day Cindy with an I, not a Y. And we look forward to speaking with you soon. We'll see you next time. Go vote. Beto. It's a Beto season. It's a Beto season.